Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Packers with Steve. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. Tonight, I will be going over the NFL draft, giving my predictions for Round One of the 2016 NFL Draft that will be taking place in Chicago, Illinois again. Also, I'll be talking about the NFL schedule is actually being released as I speak, or at least being announced of the release as I speak on ESPN. I'm sure it technically was released to the teams earlier today or whatever, but just for TV purposes and for a TV show on ESPN that's happening right now, being um, officially released to the public. And that way, I'm sure it was there's leaks and everything of it, at least for your team, if there was or not, who knows. We're just talking about some notable matchups here. It's got Rams 49ers in Week 1, but I'll go more over in depth of the schedule in general. Um, and that's a Monday Night Football game, it looks like. Of the 4 Monday Night Football games they usually have for Week 1, they have the Rams 49ers, Eagles, Bears. No, that's Week 1. That's Week 2, Eagles, Bears. Week 3, Falcons, Saints. Looks like Steelers, Redskins for the other Week 1 Monday Night Football game. I'm trying to see if I can just go over it while they're doing it. I could check online. I don't know if it'll be on the NFL website since it's being released technically on air on ESPN. Let's see here if we can get to the schedules. Hopefully. I'll go over my prediction for the 2016 NFL draft here soon as well. Like I said, that and the other thing to talk about is whether I have people on here or not. If I have people on tonight, this episode, that'd be cool. I know I invited my friend Joe Cronin's show. I know he's a fan of the New England Patriots. Here we go, fellas. Real tight, real tight. Hey, nothing else matters. Oh, freaking. Nope, nothing is released. It's all going to be on TV. So I'm going to have to wait until the TV stuff is going on or over. Week 9, Monday night, we have Bills Seahawks, it looks like, as I'm going through with here on ESPN. 10, the Bengals and the Giants. Mike Malone and Angry Cooters, New York Giants, getting a Monday Night Football game in Week 10. Week 11, the Texans versus the Oakland Raiders. Again, I am watching this on ESPN. So if you're watching along, it's fine. Oh, here we go. Packers, my Green Bay Packers. Week 12 against the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. We have a Monday night game. I was really honored and happy to be part of the Thursday night game. It was on NBC with honoring Brett Favre last season. I was very lucky to go to that game as well. I had to win a contest. But there we have it, Week 12, Packers versus Philadelphia Eagles. So that's kind of cool. EDP and Philadelia, Archfiend, and some others that are Philadelphia people, that Philadelphia Eagles fans that have YouTube channels. So I'm sure we'll hope to have them as guests next week. I mean, not next week, but I mean when we get to that week before that Monday night game. Week 13, we got the Colts and the Jets. Week 14, we got the Ravens and the Patriots. Again, this is Monday night. So Joe Cronin's New England Patriots. Week 14 here. Week 15, we have the Carolina Panthers. Team Boy TV's Carolina Panthers against Louie Tee of the Louie Tee Network, his Washington Redskins. So Panthers, Redskins, and then Cowboys at home against Detroit Lions in Week 16 on Monday Night Football. And then, Week 17, there is no Monday Night Football. That's why there's 2 in Week 1. Because Week 17, all the games are on Sunday. So So that's cool. Team Boy TV, up Team Boy TV Live, Big Q, his Carolina Panthers against Louie Tee of the Louie Tee Network, and his fine YouTube channel, which will be going live actually 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on his channel. Check it out, Louie Tee Network. Just search it here on YouTube. I probably might even have a link in my description when I update that while the this episode is being posted to my channel. If he is able to join me or not, either way, I probably still will be doing that either way because he supports me. He gave my show a shout out earlier today in his video talking about his live stream. I can return the favor here and also put it in the description below this video, below this episode and podcast. So it looks like they went through the Monday night schedule. Later on, they'll be going team by team. I really wish they would, at least online somewhere, have the schedules already released in a way. Either way, it's gonna have to either I'm gonna have to stay here longer to wait for the schedules to be released online. Because if that's the case, then I'll have to, because I want to talk about the Packers schedule from top to bottom, and then go through all that too. It's just a bad timing with me starting my show now and the schedule is slowly, ever so slowly being released because looks like they have a 2 hour, 1 hour special here on ESPN, which is fine. I usually like it as a viewer and all that other stuff. But now as my having my own podcast and being a journalist and all this other stuff, it's kind of the episode with not being able to talk about it, whether it's the Packers or any team and their schedule. So maybe I'll go into the NFL draft and give my round one predictions here while I wait for the NFL schedule to be released online, let alone it being released slowly but surely on ESPN. And since I have no guests, at least at this time, this episode might be short, but at least I'll have my predictions here. So I have it here, something to look back to when we get to the NFL draft and afterwards on my birthday weekend, and you guys can hold my feet to the fire in that way. And if I get, as I usually do, get most of them wrong, this is really fun to do for me. And now that I'm, entrenched talking NFL and everything, that almost makes it harder to do these predictions for round ones each and every year because you overthink it. You think too much. You think that, and then you also try to be that one guy, that one person, one guy, one gal, whatever, that one individual that wants to be lucky and get that surprise draft pick in the top 15 or in the bottom. Someone trades up or something. Now, usually, preface with mine, I don't have any trades, except for the ones that were made pre-draft before the start of the draft officially. So I won't be, making those type of predictions. Now, now since I am a journalist, I really should, but I'm not. I'm just leaving it simple and to the point. So here I go with the round one prediction here for my show, Talking Packers with Steve. My prediction for round one. Now, there's other ones that you see here on YouTube, and the quality and all that stuff is great for theirs. I think the best one out of all the ones I saw of mock drafts, mock draft predictions, would be Louie Tee Network. The way he does it, and Pop and Circumstance, and whatever else he does, very well done. It was on point, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's some of my picks here that are equal to his, so that's interesting. Then obviously the other ones aren't. So here we go. For the first pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting Carson Wentz, quarterback, North Dakota State. Second pick, Cleveland Browns. I have them taking Jared Goff, quarterback out of Cal. I do think there could be two quarterbacks going. The fact that the Rams moved up here probably was to get a quarterback, is to get a quarterback. It's the end all be all. Will it be Jared Goff or Carson Wentz? Who knows? I think, as said of this prediction, that it's going to be Carson Wentz over Jared Goff. I think we're going to have another situation where we have two quarterbacks going in a row being of somewhat equal value and seeing really how that works out for them. So third, I have Jalen Ramsey, cornerback, Florida State, going to the San Diego Chargers. Excuse me. Hold on, just a minute. Thought they were gonna, thought they were announcing something on ESPN. I'm trying to do two things at once. I apologize. Number number four, Dallas Cowboys. I have them selecting Joey Bosa, defensive end of Ohio State, or out of Ohio State. Number five, Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them selecting Miles Jack, linebacker, UCLA. Number six, Baltimore Ravens, selecting DeForest Bunker, defensive end out of Oregon University. Number seven, the San Francisco. Oh, actually, number six, Baltimore Ravens. JB of Team Boy TV, his Baltimore Ravens made the selection there, and number two was Jay from Talking WB with Jay. It's still his Cleveland Browns selected at number two. Number seven, the San Francisco 49ers select Vernon Hargraves, a third cornerback from Florida University. Number eight, Philadelphia Archfiend, and never so popular EDP5, the Philadelphia Eagles. Excuse me, Philadelphia Eagles selected William Jackson, the third cornerback out of Houston. Nine, Lindsey Bell. Lindsey Bell here on YouTube. You can check her out. Search her on YouTube. Just search Lindsey Bell. Her Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Shaq Lawson, defensive end out of Clemson. 10 overall, we have the New York Giants, Mike Cologne, and Angry Cooter, his New York Giants, selecting Leonard Floyd, a linebacker out of the University of Georgia. 11, we have the Chicago Bears, selecting Ronnie Stanley, tackle, Notre Dame. 12 overall, we have the New Orleans Saints, or at least I have here in my prediction, New Orleans Saints, selecting Jalen Mills, safety, out of LSU. 13, Miami Dolphins, selecting Ezekiel Elliott, running back out of Ohio State. And 15, to take a little break here, 15, Tennessee Titans, selecting Reggie Ragland, cornerback out of Alabama. I have their 15 overall. Now, before I get to the bottom half, or the bottom selections, let me welcome here my guest that just made it into the room, Louie Tee of the Louie Tee Network. He will be live starting at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, with him going live streaming. He did the other night, but tonight he's going to be talking about the draft again, the trade, and the NFL schedule that is still being slowly released here on ESPN while I'm live on air. But let's all welcome Louie Tee. How you doing this evening? You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Steve, man? Thanks for having me on the program.
How you doing?
Doing great, man. This has been a crazy day with all of the news that broke earlier and the schedule being released, as you could imagine. So I'm excited, man. As a football fan, this is what it's all about, especially in the off season.
Yeah, this is craziness with everything that's going on with the schedule, the trade happening in the morning, a lot of crazy things. Let's listen here for the first 15 picks. What are your thoughts with my predictions so far with the first 15 picks?
I really didn't expect a trade in the first 10 picks of the draft, and I had actually said that on my live feed on Tuesday that I didn't expect it. I mean, we've seen this before. We've heard a lot of chatter, and we know how draft season is. They tell you all the time that, believe, and I say this all the time, believe half of what you see, none of what you hear this time of the year. And they talked about something big is going to happen in the top 5, and I wasn't buying it. I'd seen this 2 years ago with the Rams, supposed to trade out of the top 5 when they were the number 2 overall pick. I saw it last year with the same selection, the number 2 overall. At that time, it was the Titans. Would they select Marcus Mariota? Would they trade back and allow the Eagles or the Chargers to come up and take that pick and get Marcus Mariota? Didn't happen. So I felt like the same thing was going to happen this year. It just takes so much to trade up in the draft, especially when you're talking first round in the top 5. It takes a lot, as you saw with the haul that the Titans ended up getting for that number 1 overall selection. No team has ever come from that far back to get to the number 1 spot. They traded up 14 whole selections to get to number 1. And you saw what the price was. It was a steep one to come up, but we know about the quarterback position and how important it is. And I talked about the quarterback position being the wild, wild west now, and how you got to get your quarterback. And the Rams saw an opportunity, and they took advantage of it.
You have
Yeah, I got a mean echo going back here. I'm trying to figure out.
I know you probably was watching live earlier before you were able to jump on. I can hear the.
I'm trying to figure out what exactly the echo is. Let's see if I got another.
Yeah, I can hear it. It's the
I figured it out.
Playback.
I figured it out. Yeah, I had your YouTube video still playing in the background. That's what it was.
It's all good. But yeah, I guess I'll slowly get to the end of this. 16.
Your mom.
Yeah, my mom here.
Yeah, go ahead.
16 Detroit Lions. I have them selecting Taylor Decker, tackle out of Ohio State. 17 the Atlanta Falcons. Jonathan Bullard, defensive end out of Florida. 18 ME of with our crew and main event marks is Indianapolis Colts, selecting Jack Conklin, tackle of Michigan State. 19 the Buffalo Bills, Andrew Billings, defensive tackle, Baylor. 20 the New York Jets, Alberts, New York Jets, selecting Noah Spence, defensive end, Eastern Kentucky. 21 Louie Tee of the Louie Tee Network, his Washington Redskins, selecting Sean Robinson, defensive tackle, Alabama. 22 the Houston Texans, selecting Josh Doctson, wide receiver, TCU. 23rd overall, Minnesota Vikings, Darren Lee, linebacker, Ohio State. 24 Cincinnati Bengals, Laquan Treadwell, wide receiver, out of Ole Miss. 25 the Pittsburgh Steelers, Sharon Reed, defensive tackle, Alabama. 26 the mighty Seattle Seahawks, selecting Robert Ninkovic, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. 27 mine and John's, Green Bay Packers, selecting Mackenzie Alexander, cornerback out of Clemson. 28 the Kansas City Chiefs, Eli Apple, cornerback, Ohio State. 29 Arizona Cardinals, selecting Ryan Kelly, center, Alabama. 29 you have Carolina Panthers, Vernon Butler, defensive tackle, Louisiana Tech. Next one, the Patriots not having a pick. That's Denver Broncos. Kevin Dodd, defensive end out of Clemson, that rounds out the 31 picks. Again, the Patriots do not have a selection due to their involvement with Deflategate. So that's pretty much that. Granny, what are your thoughts there, listening live there of the last picks, and specifically my prediction for your beloved
Redskins. I heard Ashawn Robinson, a guy that I absolutely do not like, but he would fit a need, and he could be one of those players that would have to grow on me maybe. I mean, I just don't see what everyone else sees with Ashawn Robinson necessarily. I didn't see the playmaking ability. I do see a guy that has some talent, some measurables. He's a big, long, a defensive lineman, can move really well. He's a guy that a lot of people question his motor and Does he love football and all of those things? And those aren't things I want to hear when I'm considering a guy in the first round. So I'm not high on Ashawn Robinson, but if that's the direction that, again, where we are as Redskins fans right now, our trust in our general manager is beyond anything you could imagine. As a Packers fan, you probably feel the same way about Ted Thompson and your group up in Green Bay. I mean, they usually get the job done this time of the year. You do not see a lot of free agents come to Green Bay. We're not doing a lot of things via free agency in Washington either. It's more about keeping your own guys and drafting well. And so if he drafted Ashawn Robinson, that being Scott McCloughan, the Redskins general manager, I would have to be on board with it. Like I said, we trust in Scott right now. That's been our mantra right now, is that, Scotty Mack will lead us to the promised land. So if that's the pick, so be it. Let me ask you something. You mocked the Packers a corner. Was the loss of Casey Hayward that big in Green Bay, or is that just a need that you see that the Packers need to address in the first
I saw that, at least for me personally, for him being mocked, in my mock draft, for him being our pick was because of it being a somewhat need. Now, was Casey Hayward lost the biggest one of all the losses that we've had off season? I don't know, but with a position like safety, with the NFL being the way it is, being offensive oriented, we really need to shore up all teams, not just the Packers. We need to shore up in the safety cornerback positions, and with loss of Hayward, it definitely hurts. And I think McKenzie definitely would be obviously, to me, since I mocked him, best fit for him to come here to Green Bay.
Okay. I got you.
Now I know you're talking about how you didn't really want Sean to be part of your Redskins. Who would you think that you would want as a fan? I mean, I know you mocked everything, but I mean, as a fan of the Washington Redskins, who do you want them to take in their pick?
Oh, without a doubt, I want Andrew Billings, big defensive tackle out of Baylor. The Redskins last season weren't great against the run, as you saw in that playoff game against your Packers. When we needed to get a stop late in that ball game, the Packers simply ran it down our throats. We couldn't do anything about it, couldn't get the football back, and that was a pivotal drive late in the third quarter that really, or early fourth quarter, that salted away the football game and gave the Packers a chance to put the game away, and that's exactly what they did. And I think the Redskins, with a guy like Junior Gillette coming off of IR, paired up with Ryan Kerrigan, and then you see the emergence of guys like Preston Smith coming on strong at the end of the season as pass rushers who like to get up the field and get edge pressure. You want someone to collapse that pocket. Chris Baker does a fabulous job along our defensive line of getting pressure on the quarterback, but he's not a guy that collapses the pocket necessarily. We're looking for a big, beefy defensive tackle to A, plug up the middle and stop the run, and B, be able to create a little bit of pressure and collapse the pocket on passing situations and downs. And I think Andrew Billings checks all of those boxes off, and I think he'd be a great addition to our football team. I think we're lacking along the defensive line right now, and I think he'd be a guy that would come in and fit a bunch of needs for the Redskins at that nose tackle position.
Okay, I'm going back with the trade being the big news trade between the Los Angeles Rams and the Tennessee Titans. I'm looking here. Titans receiving a first, 15th overall, second round, another second, third, at first and third of 2017.
Yep.
Rams getting that number one pick, a fourth and a sixth. Now, who do you think? In your opinion, who do you think won? The winners and losers of this trade, and do you really think it behooved the Rams to move up to get probably what will be a quarterback?
The one thing I can say for the Rams is this better work. Anytime you give away 2/3 of your draft and you're talking about high value picks, 2 seconds, a third, I don't really consider the first round the picks being swapped a giveaway there, because you cancel one out for the other. But 2 seconds, a third, your first next year, your third next year. I mean, that's a heck of a haul for the Tennessee Titans. So if you're going to give away all of that stuff, you better know what you're getting, which they can't really know. But at this point, they just been throwing darts, in the dark. They've been literally taking shots at that board with their eyes closed and just throwing darts and hoping to hit. And they haven't at the quarterback position. Sam Bradford, unfortunately couldn't stay healthy in St. Louis. And so it set them back a while because the defense has been ready to go for the last 3 years. And the offense has been holding them back. And it's been specifically the quarterback position. And at this point, Jeff Fisher's job is on the line. A lot of guys' jobs are on the line now. And you need a quarterback in this league. I say it all the time. It's been proven time and time again. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't stand a chance in this league. They understand that in Los Angeles. I have to get used to saying that. They understand that in Los Angeles that, look, it's now or never. This defense isn't getting any younger. You got a young offensive line that's coming together. Put a young quarterback behind that offensive line with a stud running back, with a defense that is good enough to get you to the playoffs right now. I like the move by the LA Rams. I don't love what they had to give up, but that's the price of admission when you're talking about a quarterback.
I think the same thing for the Tennessee Titans. You know, I'd say the same thing that you uttered about the Rams. You know, they better know what they're doing. Having all these picks,
Yeah.
better pick them right or go back up in the draft with the picks that they have now for the 2016 draft. Because if they don't, you know, their heads will be in the silver platter as well. In
Yeah.
Tennessee, they're trying to rebuild that franchise. So now, which one is more on the line? I would say the Rams, but Tennessee's in the same picture too because their franchise has been stumbling. A team that I never really have taken seriously personally. You know, as a fan of Packers, you know they really have to show us something, and making this bold move and getting all these picks and everything. You know, hopefully for them their end game works because if it doesn't, you know their coach might be out too. You know, so it's a big thing for both teams. Maybe more so the Rams because they're trying to get their quarterback. Because I think if they do swing and hit a home run with whether it's Goff or Wentz, you know they could be that surprise team. They could be that team coming from out of nowhere, running rush in the NFC and maybe even a playoff push if they get to the playoffs this year. I know I talked about it in one of my previous episodes of the four teams that I already boldly predicted to be in the playoffs, be the Jacksonville Jaguars, Oakland Raiders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, excuse me, and I think forget who the fourth team was, but those teams, maybe the Los Angeles Rams, or the Rams were the other one. The Los Angeles Rams definitely would be one of those four because if they do get their quarterback and their defense already being set, they just they just needed a quarterback. I think last year they could have made it that year. So I think this year, if they do well and pick correctly and hit it big with this number one overall pick, and as well, consequently, in the rest of the draft, uh, picking and selecting maybe linemen, receiver, defensive end, and a cornerback, you know, to surround their new franchise quarterback, that their team could be team to be that team just and making it to the playoffs and doing something in the playoffs. I wouldn't say that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think if they hit it big, they definitely can make some noise in the playoffs. You know,
Yeah, it's a process. It's definitely a process. I don't expect them to draft a guy and have him just show up and all of a sudden they win 12 games and they're the team to beat in the NFC West and in the NFC Conference. But what I do expect from them, and we don't even know which quarterback they're targeting. We don't even know if this guy's going to start. Case Keenum may still start the season for the LA Rams when it's all said and done. It's just about getting that guy in your building, getting your hands on him, and being able to see what he can grow into. So it may not even be a case where this trade benefits them right away. They may not see the residual effect from this trade in year one, but this could benefit them for many years to come, for a decade, if they hit this right. Both franchises really, when you're talking about this trade, can benefit for years to come. This could put the Titans back on the map. They haven't been a good football team since the early 2000s. This could put them back in a position, and maybe probably 2008. I believe it was 2008 when they had Kerry Collins and Chris Johnson ran for 16, 1,700, 1,800 yards, and they were the best team in the AFC. They haven't been good since then. So you're talking about 8-9 years ago. This team hasn't been relevant in the NFL landscape. So this is an opportunity for them to build their roster up. And look, you can go out and make this big, bold trade and get all of these picks and selections. But at the end of the day, you got to know what you're doing. Like you said earlier, Gotta make good, smart selections here and really bolster this roster. They got 6 selections within the first 76 picks. They need to hit on every single one of those if they want to build this team and turn this thing around very quickly.
Yeah, because like you were talking about, you're trying to build a franchise. If you swing and miss, this could set the Tennessee Titans, even in my opinion, even back further if they don't hit on any of these 6 selections of the first 76. But I did want to bring up and ask you, with the Rams making this big jump and getting their quarterback, no matter which one it is. Don't you think though in Los Angeles that their fan base is really going to want that said rookie quarterback to be the starter because of what they gave up and what the Titans got in the trade to the pressure from the LA fans for him to start week 1 or just start in the first year in general, just like if it happened for my Packers or your Redskins and they made that trade and selected a quarterback. Our fan bases, their fan base, will really be wanting him to play. So that's why I think he will be starting, maybe not week 1, but by week 6, he'll be
Yeah,
starting.
and
Whether
I mean
he's fit or
that's
not,
totally fair.
whether he's not up to his learning curve or not, I think with the fan base pressure, especially now in the market of Los Angeles, um, they're going to be screaming louder and louder for that quarterback to be the starter. And because he was drafted to be the franchise quarterback, to be the starter, especially with, as you said earlier, with the roster that they have right now of quarterbacks in the depth chart. So I mean, I know what you're saying, and I'm sure in that way would be the smarter way, like we did in Green Bay with Aaron sitting behind
Yeah,
the
not
quarterback.
everyone has that luxury of having a Hall of Fame quarterback still playing while you got a Hall of Fame quarterback sitting warming up on the bench, getting ready for his turn. So, look, in LA, the situation is probably going to be like this. There's going to be pressure from the fans to want to see the rookie, whomever they select, Golf or Wentz. At the end of the day, they'll determine if he's ready or not. And the one thing you don't want to do is put this guy out there, have him be a sacrificial lamb, get ate up, and have the game be too much for him, have the moment be too big for him, have him be scarred like David Carr eons ago with the Texans, where you throw a guy out there too soon, he's not ready, it's a bad offensive line, he takes a bunch of sacks. Next thing you know, his confidence is shot and he's never the same quarterback. You want to put him in the best situation. You traded all of these picks to get up there to get him. You want to make sure that you do right by this quarterback. So whatever the situation is, however they decide to go about it, they just got to make sure it's the right decision. And I'm a big firm believer in getting the actual experience is priceless. You can take all the mental reps you want, you can sit and watch, but actually playing live bullets in a game is the only way you're actually going to get the experience you need to get better. So um, if that's day one for this quarterback, if it's week 6 like you mentioned, we'll see. But at the end of the day, for whatever, it doesn't matter what the crowd and what the fans want. It's what's best for the quarterback.
Yeah, and it should be what the franchise wants because it's their jobs on the line.
Mm-hmm.
As much as the fans can talk and it's trying to, I don't know, it's like that happy medium. You want
Mm-hmm.
to listen to your fans and everything and acknowledge it and try to adhere to their thinking, but you also have a franchise to run, and you have a future that you want to have for this franchise, and your own assets are on the line
Mm-hmm.
with this selection of whoever it is. Like
Right.
you said, it's what the franchise wants even more than what their fan base might be screaming and shouting for what they want to happen. 'Cause it happens
Yep.
in all franchises. Like I'm sure in Washington with RG3,
Mm-hmm.
even though he was already going to be the starter anyway, but still, you have that going on. Even though it didn't work for RG3, now he's in Cleveland. We'll see if that works out for him there.
Right.
But with selecting a quarterback at that point, it's a heavy toll. But like you said, it's more for the franchise to think than for the fans to say. Um, Still trying to see here with the schedules.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about starting here this early, the schedules are coming out while you're live.
Right. Right.
But I know I'll definitely be when I'm done here, whenever that is, jumping over to your channel with your live feed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I told them, you were live before, and you're also going to be live if I'm not mistaken for the draft. You're having a draft party
Yep.
for your
Indeed.
channel as well. They're on the 28th, so first round. So definitely everybody should check them out. on YouTube, search of Louie T. He will be in the description below this video when I'm done. But beyond there, um, I know I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you have to prep for your own show. Is there anything last words that you want to say that has to do with the draft, with the schedule, anything that you want to bring up here on my show before you get ready for your own?
Oh no, man! I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be on your show, man. It was a blast, and we got to do this again sometime in the near future. And I'll be sure to. I've actually already left the link to your channel on my last video that I posted, and I'll be able to do the same on the next video as well. So appreciate the time, man.
Sounds good. Definitely hope to have you again, especially well, not just have you again, have you on longer
Hmm.
as well. But have fun tonight. I might be able to stop by.
Right. Hopefully you do, man. And enjoy the rest of the schedule release and have a great show, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir. Peace. That was Louie T, the Louie Tee Network. Like I said, check him out on YouTube. Search him. I really do wish he was able to stay longer, but he has his own show to prep, and I don't want to hold his time any longer than he already has given me, and giving his thoughts on the draft and the trade, and even a little bit about the schedule. He'll be breaking that all down in greater detail in his own show, going live. One thing I do need to improve is having a chat feature with my shows here with Google Hangout, but I'll learn that over time. Moving forward with the Packers schedule, I got a message from my friend John, uh, who's uh, who's a fellow Packer fan. He's not able to make it tonight. He has other things going on, which is understandable. People have lives. But he did chime in saying about us having our first game being in Jacksonville in Florida. I I don't know. It's not a bad thing. I mean, not a bad thing to start there. I mean, it's not you don't always have to start on the road. I mean, at home. I mean, I'm sure we've done it many times, but I think the way the schedule is going for us and our team is just going to make it tough. Now, I heard from earlier on Bill Michaels' show, the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Radio show, this morning. And I apologize for the pauses, but I was talking. They were talking about how the Packers schedule is like one of the easiest or the hardest, one of the spectrums. I think it was the easiest, and so no matter how it's set up and in what order, I think it's okay. But like I said, that's his opinion. He didn't like that fact. He was saying that how it's dumb that we have to play in Orlando against Jacksonville week 1, then week 2 and 3 are divisional games, and then the bye week, and then finally have an opener in week 5. It looks like, and that was his assessment so far, John, fellow Packer fan. My assessment is that hey, we can't always start a season at home. As great as it is to start every single season with week 1 being the home opener, that's not going to happen. Um, It's kind of cool though, week 2 that we face the Vikings in their new stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium, I think it's called, no longer dubbed the Metrodome. I thought that they were gonna, have the new Metrodome and call it the Metrodome, kind of like I think the Yankees did. That was Yankee Stadium. It was Yankee Stadium before, and it's Yankee Stadium now. I don't think they changed the name of it. Maybe they did, but just the fans are calling it Yankee Stadium. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not. I'm sure Angry Cooter or Mike Malone would be able to let me know of that. So, but again, that's baseball is football. Now that the schedules are released on on television, I think that's yeah, television. I'm going to try to find here the schedule for the Packers. Again, I do apologize for the breaks and pauses here because I'm just trying to find out the schedule since I am live now. I was going to go live earlier, I mean later, but I did want to have Louie T on the show, and as you heard and as I was promoting, he will be live on his own channel at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, talking everything with the draft, the trade, and I'm sure mostly will be about the NFL schedule because on his live stream he'll have everything. The schedule will already be out, and he'll be able to have that in front of him. I, on the other hand, since I started live at 7 p.m. Central, do not. But that's okay. It is what it is. I just have to search it and find it. It's not like it's that hard to find. I know I talked about earlier. I already gave the the uh, the schedule for the Monday Night Football schedule from week 1 to week 16. Let's see if I can find regular season schedules already here on NFL.com. Because the next thing I'm going to look at is the Thursday night schedules. Panthers Broncos rematch will be the first Thursday night game. Obviously, well, not obviously, but well, the obvious part is that the Super Bowl champions get to have the first game of the year. That doesn't mean it has to be a Super Bowl rematch. They just have the first game, and whoever is on their schedule, they have that. And I guess luck has had it that the Panthers face the Broncos in the Super Bowl, and the Panthers are on the Broncos schedule, which was known, months ago, technically years ago, because actually the schedule is already known for years and years advance at least your home and aways, or at least your pool of teams. I think. I think if you know the pool of teams, you just don't know because every 4 years you face a different division. The only things that you don't know is that there's two surprise teams or two RKO out of nowhere, to use a wrestling term, a WWE term, which is Randy Orton finisher, the RKO out of nowhere, or you have two teams that aren't from those said AFC or NFC division that your team is facing. Like let's say the Washington Redskins. Louie Tee Network, his Washington Redskins. He has the games against Philadelphia, New York, and Dallas, 2-4-6 there, and then he plays against, let's say, the NFC North, his team, the Redskins, NFC North. You have 4 games there. 2 will be at home, 2 will be away. Then let's say the AFC North. This is just hypothetical. AFC North, 2 home, 2 away. Then you got those, and then you have on top of that 2 random teams from a different division that aren't part of this, part of that already core schedule that are randomized each year for all 32 teams. So when explaining all of that, that just means how that worked out here for the Broncos to face the Panthers for the Thursday night game. Excuse me, to open Week 1 and to open the NFL season for the National Football League. And that will be Thursday, September 8th, Septiembre 8 on NBC. Let's see here. Looking here for the Thursday night games, I'm going to see if they are up here for this season already, since they are being already announced here on ESPN. Oh, was that week 4? The Browns faced the Redskins, RG3. Oh man, I wish Louie T was still on the show. So we talked about that. Gonna have that rematch. I guess I'll have to talk to him about that on his own show, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on Louie Tee Network YouTube channel. Again, his description for his channel will be in or his link to his channel will be in the description of my video. Okay, here's Thursday night games for Thursday night football on NBC. Let's see here. NBC and CBS. So for the first half of the season, it's CBS and NBC. I mean CBS and the NFL Network, and then for the Thanksgiving one, it's NBC and NFL Network. Well, anyways, here we go. I'll just the first one we have is going to be the Jets versus the Bills, CBS and the NFL Network. Then Week 2, we got the Jets. No. Week 1, Jets and Bills. Week 2, Texans, Patriots, Thursday night. Week 3, Dolphins, Bengals. Week 4, Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. Week 5, the Denver Broncos. Glass of Team Boy TV, and Get With It Sports. The Denver Broncos against the Chendico Chargers. Next week we got the Bears against the Packers. Packer home game Thursday night on CBS and NFL Network. Which is a Packer fan is awesome. You know, if you're a fan of a team, you always hope. If you don't have the network, obviously, I don't have the NFL Network currently. I hope to soon, but so for ones that are Packer fans or any fan of any of the 32 teams, you don't have the NFL Network currently for whatever reason, that you hope that when your team does play on Thursday night, because all 32 teams do, that it's one that's simulcast with another network, whether it's NBC or CBS. So I'm lucky here with the Green Bay Packers on October 20th. We'll be facing the Chicago Bears at home, and it'll be in week 6, and we'll be at home, and it'll be also on CBS. Week 7, and here this is the start of just on the NFL Network. And recruiter Michael Owens' New York Giants facing the Los Angeles Rams. So hey, their team gets to face the new LA team. Next week we got the Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Then following we got the Falcons at the Buccaneers, Browns at Ravens, Saints at the Panthers, Cowboys at Vikings, Raiders at Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams at the Seahawks, Dolphins at the Jets, Giants at the Eagles, and then the last one, Saturday, Bengals, Texans, Ravens, Steelers. Now let's find specifically with the Packers. And we'll blow by through this pretty quickly here for the 2016 season. Excuse me. After this. Um, there we go. Week 1, we are going to be on the road, as you said, against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then week 2 on the road at the Vikings, and then at home against the Lions in week 3. So actually, our home game is week 3. We have and then week 4 we have the bye week. Week 5 we face Mike Cologne, Angry Cooter. They're New York Giants. So hopefully, I'll be able to have one of them or both of them on my podcast that Thursday, leading up to the great matchup of the New York Giants for the Green Bay Packers. You know, talking smack, maybe having a gentleman's bet or just a bet period. Nothing serious, no money involved, obviously, but just fun little thing between friends. Just like I know other podcasts and other things do actually here on YouTube. At least they used to for NFL shows. Week 6 against the Cowboys at home. Week 7 at home against the Chicago Bears. Week 8 at Atlanta. Week 9 I face ME, his Indianapolis Colts. So again, hopefully I'll be able to have him on the show that week leading up to that game. Week 10 at Tennessee. Week 11 will be tons of fun at the Washington Redskins. Louie Tee Network, his Washington Redskins playing in Washington. Kirk Cousins versus Aaron Rodgers again. The rematch. And the payback, trying to get payback, which is the next pay-per-view in WWE Payback coming up. But the Redskins trying to get payback on the Packers for the playoff game, and us pretty much beating them. Not just winning, but beating them, but okay, whatever. But they're trying to get their revenge. Week 11, the game is going to be at Washington. Packers, Redskins. Hopefully we'll be able to have again Louie T. Hopefully actually even earlier. I am looking into my next episode of this podcast because of other things going on. I might not be able to have the next one until I get to before the first week of the NFL season. Maybe I'll be able to do a post draft one next week, but then after that, I'll be on a little hiatus until we get to my, the Thursday before the week one, which is actually the first game. Thursday night will be the first game, but that evening before the game starts or whatever, I'll have a episode with my predictions of week one, and as I do each and every season, Thursday I have the predictions, and then Tuesday or no Thursday I have the predictions and also review of the previous week. But since we're starting the week, there is no review of the previous week, and then we'll go into that. And at that time, I'll also be giving my predictions for the whole NFL season, my playoffs, and everything alike. Who I think will be in the playoffs and Super Bowl predictions and all the other stuff will be at that time. And just like today with my NFL draft, my mock draft, my NFL draft predictions, you'll be able to have it here and let me know and have the proof of whether I did really well or whether I only got 4 out of the 31 picks correct. Either way, it's a fun time. I know I enjoy it. And this is a great time to be an NFL fan, whether you hit it out of the park with your predictions. I know Louie T, the way he does his predictions, on point, excellent. He spends a lot of hard work, time, and dedication to do what he does for his mock draft and the way he does it. So not only was it on point in the way he did it, and just in general with his picks overall for the first round, but now I have those videos. I liked those videos, as in I don't just like them in general. I actually thumbs up like, as people are welcome to do with this episode. Leave a like, comment, or share, and obviously subscribe if you're not subscribed. But I liked both of those videos of his of the NFL draft, so they're in my in that playlist. And when the draft is over, I'm gonna go back there since I didn't write them down. It's in video form. After the draft, I'm gonna go back onto his channel or on my own channel in that playlist of liked videos. Find both of them and see how he did, record wise, how many correct he got right and not, and whatever. Just like he could if he wanted to or cared to, like this video that he was a part of as well, and then go back after after the draft and see, hey, how many did Steve get right? Oh, he only got 6 right. Well, I got 12 right. So, that kind of fun little battle between each other. A friendly battle, of course, but see who got the more right. But the way he does his mock, it was definitely very well. And I'm not just saying that because he supports my show. I'm saying that in general as a fan of his. Very well done, and you guys can definitely check that out. I know my way is a little bit different, in the simple way here, being in a live episode and giving my predictions one by one. I really hope that for next year, and this is kind of a shout out to NFL fans representing the other 31 teams. Next year, I hope to have the same episode, but I hope to have 31 guests. As in, obviously, they'll be rotating in the order of the draft, but 31 guests to give the prediction for the mock draft, and I'll have it written down, and that will be then my official mock draft with each person representing a team giving their pick. So let's say ME would represent the Colts to give the pick wherever they're in the 2017 draft. Michael Onarangi-Cooter for the Giants. Albert of Main Event Marks would be for the Jets. Team Boy TV, Big Q, the host of there, he would be for the Carolina Panthers. JB of the same show would be for the Ravens. As I said, Louie Tee Network, he would be for representing the Redskins. Philadelphia, Archfiend, or EDP445 would represent the Eagles, and and so on and so forth. Those are the ones that I already know. Probably, if I'm able to, he's a he's a big YouTuber, kind of like Louie T is slowly becoming here on the here on the YouTube. The Schleg Daddy, and he'd represent the Chicago Bears if he was able to or interested in joining next year. So that's what I want to hope to do for next year. Make that a little bit more interesting for the viewers and for myself to have another person's opinion and to have a little fun as well with my mock draft. And actually, if I do it that way for the 2017 NFL draft, obviously I planned that well ahead of time. so I can see if people are interested and all that other stuff in representing the teams and getting that ready for their own teams and making a pick. But also, I might actually make it a separate episode of Talking Package with Steve of a 2017. That would be NFL mock draft with 31 guests with somebody representing each team in the National Football League here and giving the pick for next year. I think that'd be my way of doing it each year, of having a special little thing for the draft. That would start next year, not this year. Unfortunately, I was too late in the thinking process to do that. But um, next year, I hope that. Oh, also Joe of the Joe Corrin Show, he would represent the New England Patriots. Can't believe I forgot him, my friend there, who was able to make it for my WrestleMania prediction episode, WWE WrestleMania prediction. Excuse me, prediction episode there. So that that is what I hope to have for next year. So definitely something to look forward to if you do want to become a new subscriber. Also, I have a lot of content during the NFL season. Between the Super Bowl and now, obviously you haven't seen a lot of things with the NFL, and my NFL seems like to be my main thing here on this channel. Even though I do have my NFL podcast. I talk movies, sports, and other things. Man up a million podcasts that I am. But um, this NFL one, I really hope that you guys do enjoy this episode, or it was, and enjoy the ride as we get into the 2016 season. Because the NFL, it's awesome, and at this time of year, as Louie Tee said, it's a great time of year to be an NFL fan. So definitely hope, as I said in the other video when I was giving my update for the channel, you know, trying to grow the subscriber count, not just to have numbers, but having more subscribers to be able to have more conversation with people like mine interested in NFL or whatever. Um, but as we get into the NFL, I'll be having, or get into the NFL season there in September, things will be getting interesting each and every week, which each and every game as we get to go through that again. But the sad thing about it, and for NFL fans, as awesome as we look forward to when the season starts, and then the season does start, we go through the NFL season, and it feels like you snapped your finger and we're already at the Super Bowl, and then the season's over, and like, oh geez, now we have to, it's like that circle of life. It's a circle or a vicious circle in a way. You're looking forward. You really want some football. Heck, for me, before we get to um, watching, there's some preseason games that are actually nationally televised or whatever. That is something, just trying to whet your appetite for NFL content or for pro football content of watching preseason games. Now it's more interesting watching preseason games in your local markets. Excuse me, for your local team. Because you have new draft picks, signees, and all the other stuff. People trying to make the roster. So locally for your own teams, you're watching each and every preseason game, and obviously I'll be talking about that on my channel during the preseason, or at least the last week of the preseason. We'll see how my schedule works out to do that. But even before then, I watch. I think there was even one this past weekend, an AFL game, or no, not AFL, CFL, the Canadian Football League. Their games. Watching that, that's something. At least it's football, and it's their regular season, so it means something as it counts to their season, I believe. If I'm correct in that. Oh, I did look at the Packers schedule. I want to take a look at some of my friends' schedules. Let's take a look at the Carolina Panthers, actually, if I may. Carolina Panthers, Team Boy TV, is Carolina Panthers week one there against Denver Broncos. So already out of the gate here on Team by TV Live, there's going to be that battle again between Big Q and Glass. This time it's just for the very first game of the season at Denver. Then week two, 49ers. Week three at home against the Vikings. Week four at Atlanta. Week five, Buccaneers. Week six at the Saints. Seven, they have their bye week. Week eight at home against the Cardinals. Week nine at the Los Angeles Rams. Week 10 at home against the Chiefs. Week 11 at home against the Saints. 12 at the Raiders. 13 at Seattle. 14 home against San Diego. 15 at Washington to face the Redskins. Week 16 at home against the Falcons. Then week 17 at Tampa Bay. So that's scheduled for the Panthers. I'm going to go the Oakland Raiders. Another friend who would represent the Raiders in my NFL draft next year. Either Raiders underscore 1995 or Mikey Raider and his channel Raider Central. But the Oakland Raiders, their schedule: week 1 at Saints, home against the Falcons, at Titans, week 3, week 4 at Baltimore, week 5 at home against San Diego, week 6 at home against the Chiefs, week 7 away at Jacksonville, week 8 at Tampa Bay, week 9 at home against Denver, and week 10 is their bye week. Week 11 Texans, 12 at home against the Panthers, 13 at home against the Bills, 14 at Kansas City, 15 at San Diego, 16 at home against the Colts, and then running it out at Denver in week 17 for the Oakland Raiders. There's one other team that I want to take a quick look at is Albert, his team, the New York Jets. And this will be the final team that I'll go through entirely. Excuse me. Week 1 at home against the Bengals. Week 2 at Buffalo. Week 3 at Kansas City. 4 at home against Seattle. Week 5 at Pittsburgh. Week 6 at Arizona. Week 7 at home against Baltimore. Week 8 at Cleveland. Week 9 at Miami. Week 10 against the Rams. Week 11 a bye week. Week 12 at home against the Patriots. 13 at home against the Colts. 14 at San Francisco. Week 15 at Miami. Week 16 at New England. Week 17 at home against the Buffalo Bills. So that looks like a interesting schedule, to say the least. For the Jazz, Carolina looked interesting as well. Of course, they all look interesting. Another thing to look forward to, with these schedules coming out, and with the draft coming up, always looking forward to not just the NFL season in general, but fantasy football. I know I'm big into it. I do a lot of fantasy football leagues. I do the maximum on NFL.com, and then I do a couple on the ESPN website. So I'm definitely big into that. So now looking at the schedule, looking at some matchups, and then seeing. I usually don't take a lot of rookies out of my fantasy football team. In a way that's a risk, no matter how much they're highly touted. Excuse me. But sometimes, each year actually, I've been lucky for the last couple of years because I've done this, for many years doing fantasy football. But the last couple of years, I've been lucky getting a diamond in the rough. I remember 2 years ago, I think it was, when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Excuse me, Jacksonville Jaguars. Cecil Shorts uh, was my diamond in the rough on one of my rosters. Not saying he got like mega points, but he did pretty dang well and actually helped me get to a championship a couple years ago in one of the leagues. But then again, like I said, I'm in a lot of leagues, so I'm bound to do good in one of them, and I'm bound to do very bad in another. You know, but I'm still on there every week during the season. Making sure that the rosters are all set, and then when the bye week starts, I think that starts on week 4 for the NFL with bye weeks. Um, then you have to be there every week to check your team and your roster for the teams that have off on the buys and have to make changes. I'm usually lucky enough where I don't have to pick up players. I already have backups for everything. I try to do that in the draft, whether that's right or wrong. That's just how I strategize in my leagues. And I will be opening up my league True NFL Fans on NFL.com. Depending on who still is going to be there, there might be some openings. So if you're interested, let me know to join a fantasy football league. But then there's that, and then so all that other fun besides watching your team and watching sport of football in general, the fantasy football aspect as well, and that's just as big a part than anything, really. So thank you for those that watch live and those that will be watching archived. And I thank Louie T for being part of the episode. I really, really do appreciate that. And hopefully, um, I mean, obviously, I'm going to be watching his as I've done here. But like I said, like the video, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like I said, yeah, share it with others. Like I said, because next season, next NFL draft, heading into the 2017 NFL draft, I hope to have 31 other people, or at least the 10 that I announced or that I talked about. Because if I could, I might have a co-host by then. As a whole year from now, and that co-host probably might be a Packer fan. Doesn't have to be, just to be an NFL fan. And I'm still looking for a co-host, a true co-host, and that person would represent that team or whatever team, those Packers or others. But so definitely, you're welcome to share this video with the ones that I mentioned, or anyone else you think that could represent the team next year to be part of the show for that show to give the predictions or for the mock draft on this channel about the National Football League. But again, thanks for everybody that watched, and we'll be watching. And above all else, take care.